Lead a one-man revolution from your armchair, talking cliches to listeners that aren't there. You call it warfare, but your wars aren't fair. If they were, there'd be suicide bombers in arms fairs.
YouTube, salute. Americans are likely to think New Year's Eve and New Year's Day as a time to celebrate the fresh start that a new year represents. But years before the Civil War, the first day of the new year was often a heartbreaking one for enslaved people in the United States. In the African American community, New Year's Day used to be known as Hiring Day or Heartbreak Day, because enslaved people spent New Year's Eve wondering and waiting if their owners, slave masters, were going to rent them out to someone else, thus potentially splitting them up for their families. The renting out of slave labor was relatively commonplace in the antebellum South and a profitable practice for white slave owners and hirers. So, Hiring Day was part of a large economic cycle in which most debts were collected and settled on New Year's Day. And if you want to know more information about this, I got some sources for you. You can look at Divided Mastery, Slave Hiring in the American South by Jonathan D. Martin. You can check that one source out, that book. And there's another book, the autobiography, Incidents in the Life of a Slave Girl. You can check that out in Harriet Jacobs. But at this time, on New Year's Day, like I said, the slaves were on the auction block, and they were the highest bidder won them. People were being separated from their families, and they were being contracts negotiated. So some slaves that was being brought, they sometimes would be maybe for the whole year, for the whole month. It depends. So when you think about slave owners and farmers renting out their human cattle for extra income during the period between the cotton and corn harvests in the next planting season, and this went from Christmas to New Year's Eve, many families would wait anxiously because they don't know what's going to happen, to find out whether they will be rented out or who will be their new owner on New Year's Day. One of these fateful days was a mother led 7 children to the auction block, and she knew some of them would be taken from her, and they took all her children, split them all up. And Harriet Jacobs talks about that in her autobiography. That's like a hurtful thing that people don't understand. They always say, well, we know what black people went through. No, you don't. You don't know that feeling. Enslaved people who attempted to resist going to their new masters were whipped and thrown in jail until they promised not to run away during this, arrangement that was being made. Older slaves, also particularly vulnerable, as Jacob, she said, autobiography, was trying not to, go because it was hurtful that they wanted to stay. So when people think of New Year's Day, I'm not going to knock the day, but it's also another fact in history that American slavery, it is a horror story. The holiday was not associated with some type of freedom, especially for African American community. The federal ban on the transatlantic slave trade went into effect on New Year's Day in 1808, but the African American communities did celebrate the festivities, but were short-lived. Different slave trade abolition commemorations took place between 1808 and 1831. They died out because of the domestic slave trade was so vigorous. The holiday became more associated with freedom than slavery, and a lot of people don't see that. Slaves went to church and prayed and sang on December 31st, around 1862, and that's why there's always the New Year's Eve prayer services at African American churches nationwide. That's where they got that from. And, this is something that, I'm not trying to scare nobody. I'm not trying to make people mad, but I'm just trying to enlighten you about the history that's been going on in America, dealing with African Americans, the community, but also dealing with the Africans being enslaved coming to North America. Want to, give you some light. Happy New Year's to everybody. If you're going to go out and celebrate, be safe. Don't hurt nobody. Don't drink and drive. Catch an Uber. Spend time with your loved ones. It's a blessing to wake up again. Post your comments below. Hulk smash Black Panther the like button. Subscribe to my channel. Click the bell icon to be notified when I upload new content and go live. If you'd like to support and donate to the channel, I have Venmo, CashApp, PayPal, Streamlabs. Everything's in the description. Until next time, peace.